Grounded theory design. Grounded theory enables you to generate a broad theory about your qualitative central phenomenon grounded in the data. As a systematic procedure, it appeals to a wide range of educational researchers. This chapter defines grounded theory research, identifies when to use it, assesses the key characteristics of it, examines several ethical issues in this form of inquiry, and advances the steps in conducting and evaluating this design. Grounded theory stands as a compelling methodology in the realm of qualitative research, offering researchers an effective systematic procedure to generate broad theories that are intellectually grounded in the data knowledge. This methodology presents itself as an appealing choice for a wide array of educational researchers, offering a unique blend of flexibility and rigor. This essay aims to elucidate the concept of grounded theory research, evaluate its key characteristics, pinpoint its appropriate usage, highlight pertinent ethical considerations, and outline the procedural steps involved in its execution and assessment. By the end of this chapter, you should be able to define grounded theory research and describe when to use it and how it developed. Distinguish among three types of grounded theory designs. Identify the key characteristics of grounded theory research. Identify some potential ethical issues in conducting grounded theory research. Describe the steps in conducting a grounded theory study. Evaluate the quality of a grounded theory study. What is a grounded theory research? When should you use it, and how did it develop? A grounded theory design is a systematic, qualitative procedure used to generate a theory that explains, at a broad conceptual level, a process, an action, or an interaction about a substantive topic. In grounded theory research, this theory is a process theory. It explains an educational process of events, activities, actions, and interactions that occur over time. So, grounded theory, at its core, is a research methodology that enables the generation of theory from systematic, rigorous analysis of qualitative data. It emphasizes the development of abstract analytical schemes based on a close examination of the empirical world, thereby ensuring that the resultant theory is deeply rooted or grounded in the data. When do you use grounded theory? You use grounded theory when you need a broad theory or explanation of a process. Grounded theory generates a theory when existing theories do not address your problem or the participants that you plan to study. Because a theory is grounded in the data, it provides a better explanation than a theory borrowed off the shelf because it fits the situation, actually works in practice, is sensitive to individuals in the setting, and maybe represent all of the complexities actually found in the process. So, broader theory is a particular applicable when there is a lack of existing theory- theoretical frameworks to explain a phenomenon or when researchers aim to explore more complex, multifaceted phenomena in depth. It is ideal for researchers seeking to understand patterns of behavior, attitudes, and interactions, or to explore the process through which actors in a study construct meaning around their experiences. How did grounded theory develop? Two sociologists, Barney G. Gleason and the late Anselm L. Strauss, developed grounded theory in the late 1960s. It evolved out their work at the University of California, San Francisco Medical Center with patients who were terminally ill. So they proposed grounded theory as a novel methodology to bridge the gap between theory and empirical data in sociological research. This approach was a departure from the prevailing research methods of the time that heavily relied on testing preconceived theories rather than generating them from data. Types of grounded theory design. We can see that perspectives about conducting grounded theory research have differed depending on the advocate for a particular approach. However, three dominant designs are discernible. Hood, 2007, The Systematic Procedure, aligned with Strauss and Corbin, 1998. The Emerging Design associated with Glaser, 1992, and the Constructivist Approach exposed by Charmas, 1990, 2000, and 2006. So, the Glaserian grounded theory by Glaser design this design emphasized the emergence of theory from data in an unrestricted manner. Glaserian grounded theory advocates for a process of constant comparison where data collection and analysis occur simultaneously, thereby allowing theoretical constructs to emerge naturally. And constructivist approach by Charmas, this approach underscores the interpretative nature of qualitative research, highlighting the co-construction of meaning between researchers and participants. In this design, the focus is not only on the data itself, but also on how individual experiences, context, and interactions shape the interpretation of the data. The systematic design. The systematic design for grounded theory is widely used in educational research, and it is associated with the detailed, rigorous procedures that Strauss and Corbin identified in 1990 and elaborated in their second and third editions on techniques and procedures for developed grounded theory, 1998. So the Straussian grounded theory, diverging from its Laserian counterpart, introduced a more is- introduced a more structured, systematic procedure for data analysis. Strauss and Corbin emphasized that while grounded theory should indeed be grounded in data, the researcher plays a crucial role in shaping and interpreting that data. Their systematic procedure involves a series of interconnected steps, namely open coding, axial coding, selective coding, which collectively guide the researcher from data collection to the generation of a grounded theory. In the first phase, open coding, the grounded theories forms initial categories of information about the phenomenon being studied by segmenting information. The researcher bases categories on all data collected, such as interviews, observations, and researchers' memos or notes. So, in the initial phase of grounded theory research, known as open coding, the researcher embarks on the process of forming preliminary categories of information concerning the phenomenon being examined. This is achieved through the segmentation of the collective data, a pool of information that typically encompasses a diverse range of sources such as interviews, observations, and a research owns memos or notes. An illustrative example of this process can be found in a grounded theory study conducted by Knapp in 1995. In her exploration of the career development of 27 educational trainers in the field of career development, Knapp employed open coding to unearth key themes within her interview data. Through her analysis, she identified adaptability and resilience as significant categories, shedding light on crucial aspects of the trainer's career trajectories. Another example for open coding was shown in Figure 13.2. The open coding process in this study presented a departure from the approach adopted by Knapp. exhibiting a unique method of data organization. The authors opt to structure their open coding in a distinct manner, focusing on broad categories, properties, and dimensionalized examples. This methodical approach was aligned with the systematic procedures delineated by Strauss and Corbin in 1990, thereby ensuring a structured yet flexible exploration of data. The authors introduced two new ideas into our understanding of open coding. Properties are subcategories in grounded theory of open codes that serve to provide more detail about each category. Properties can be seen as subcategories that fall within the umbrella of broader categories identified during open coding. They serve to provide a more nuanced understanding of each category, offering an in-depth, detailed description of the characteristics, traits, or aspects that define a particular category. A dimensionalized property means that the researcher views the property on a continuum and locates in the data examples representing extremes on this continuum. The concept of a dimensionalized property in the context of grounded theory introduces a dynamic perspective to data analysis. This approach entails viewing a property or defining characteristics of a category along a continuum. In doing so, the researcher identifies instances within the data that represent various points, particularly the extremes on this continuum. In the second phase, axial coding, the grounded theories selects one open coding category, positions it at the center of process being explored, and then relates other categories to it. In axial coding, as the name suggests, involves the creation of an axis around which the analysis revolves, following the segmentation and categorization of data in the open coding phase. The grounded theory selects one category that stands out as a core phenomenon. This category is positioned at the center of the process being explored. Coding paradigm, which portrays the interrelationship of causal conditions, strategies, contextual, and intervening conditions and consequence. The coding paradigm, a cornerstone of grounded theory, serves as a compass guiding researchers through the labyrinth of data towards a comprehensive understanding of the research phenomenon. This framework encapsulates the dynamic interplay of various elements, each of which contributes to the understanding of the phenomenon. These elements include causal conditions, strategies adopted in response to these conditions, the influence of contextual and intervening conditions, and the resultant consequence. To illustrate this process, first examine Figure 13.3. In this figure, we see the open coding categories on the left and the axial coding paradigm on the right. A grounded theory researcher identifies one of the open coding categories as the core category that is central to a theory. So, as this process progresses, certain categories start to stand out due to their centrality to the research phenomenon. The researcher identifies one such category as the core category. So these are the six categories of information. Causal conditions, categories of conditions that influence the core category. The first box in the paradigm pertains to the causal conditions that influence the core category. These are the events or circumstances that trigger the phenomenon of interest, providing the initial momentum for the process under study. Context. The second box involves specific conditions that influence the strategies, These are the particular circumstances or factors within which the phenomenon occurs and the strategies are enacted. Core category. The third box is the core category, the idea or phenomenon central to the process. This category is the focal point of the research, around which the other categories revolve. Interpreting conditions. The fourth box pertains to the interpreting conditions, the broader contextual factors that influence the strategies. These can include social, cultural, institutional, or environmental conditions that impact the process under study. Strategies. The fifth box focuses on the strategies, the specific actions or interactions resulting from the core phenomenon. These are the tactics employed by the actors within the study in response to the causal conditions. Last, consequences. The sixth and final box examines the consequences, the outcomes or results that emerge from employing the strategies. These consequences provide valuable insights into the effects or impacts of the phenomenon. Selective coding. The grounded theory spreads a theory from the interrelationship of the categories in the axial coding model. At the basic level, this theory provides an abstract explanation for the process being studied in the research. So, selective coding is the culminating phase in the grounded theory methodology, where the researcher crafts a theory that provides an abstract explanation for the process being studied. In this process, the researcher explores the interrelationship of categories, examining how they interact, influence, and correlate with each other. As Strauss and Corby 1998 noted, it's the process of integrating and refining the theory where the researchers synthesize the insights gleaned from the data into a coherent theoretical narrative. The emerging design. Although Glaser participated with Strauss in the book on grounded theory, Glaser has since written an extensive critique of the Strauss approach. In this critique, Glaser 1992 felt that Strauss and Corbin in 1990 had overly emphasized rules and procedures, a preconceived framework for categories, and theory verification rather than the theory generation. So, this explores Glaser's critique, focusing on his advocacy for the emergence of theory from data and the elucidation of a basic social process. In his critique, Glaser in 1992 underscored the importance of allowing a theory to emerge organically from the data, a principle that aligns closely with the concept of the emerging design. Glaser argued against the use of rigid preset categories such as those proposed in the axial coding paradigm, including causal conditions, content, interpreting conditions, strategies, and consequences. The more flexible, less prescribed form of grounded theory research as advanced by Glaser 1992 consists of several major ideas. 1. Grounded theory exists at the most abstract conceptual level rather than the least abstract level as found in visual data presentation such as a coding paradigm. This commitment necessitates an abstract, conceptual approach rather than relying on concrete visual representations such as coding paradigms. Grounded theory seeks to identify overarching patterns, themes, and processes within the data. It is this abstract nature that allows grounded theory to capture the complexity and depth of social phenomena. 2. A theory is grounded in the data and it is not forced into categories. This means that the researcher allows the theory to naturally evolve from the data without imposing pre-existing frameworks or categories. This approach ensures that the jury remains firmly rooted in the data, thereby enhancing the authenticity and validity of the research findings. 3. A good grounded jury must meet four central criteria: fit, work, relevance, and modifiability. So, a grounded jury that fits will accurately represents the experience, perceptions, and behavior of the participants, practitioners, and researchers involved in the study. By carefully inducing the jury from a substantive area, researchers can ensure that it fits the realities in the eyes of those most intimately connected with the phenomenon under study. Larson's 1997 study portrayed a grounded jury study consistent with Glaser's approach. The goal for Larson was to write a theory in a process for high school social studies teachers' conception of discussion in the classroom. So Larson's goals was to develop a theory in process regarding social studies teacher conception of discussion. A theory in process is a dynamic, evolving theory that reflects the ongoing nature of social phenomena. By aiming for a theory in process, Larson acknowledged that teachers' conceptions of discussions are not static but continue to evolve in response to various factors, including classroom dynamics, educational policies, and societal changes. In this emerging contemporary approach, Larson's attention was on developing an explanation for discussion in high school social studies classroom. So Larson embarked on his research without a preconceived theoretical framework. Instead, he allowed the theory to emerge organically from the data, ensuring that it would be firmly rooted in the experiences and perceptions of the teacher studied. By adopting this approach, Larson aimed to capture the unique realities of the classroom setting, thereby constructing a theory that truly fit the data. The constructivist design. That this approach has been articulated by Chalmers 1990, 2000, 2006 as a philosophical position. To her, it lies between the more positivist stance of Glaser and Strauss and Corbin and postmodern researchers. Overall, her focus is on the meanings ascribed by participants in the study. So Charma's constructivist approach to grounded theory represents a distinct philosophical stance, positioning itself between the more positivist orientation of Glaser and Strauss and Corbin, and the meta-challenging perspectives of postmodern researchers. This midway position allows Charmas to weave together the strands of both approaches, creating a unique lens through which to view qualitative research. Charmas to weave together the strands of both approaches, creating a unique lens through which to view qualitative research. Choosing among the designs. Choosing among the three approaches requires several considerations. As you consider conducting a grounded theory study, you need to weigh how strongly you want to emphasize procedures. Use predetermined categories in analysis. Position yourself as a researcher and decide how to end the study, whether it is with tentative questions or hypotheses that are specific. If you prefer a more structured, systematic approach, Strauss and Corbin's method, with its clear guidelines and explicit procedures, may be the right fit for you. On the other hand, if you value flexibility and creativity, Glaser's classic grounded theory or Charma's constructivist approach, both of which allow for more fluidity in the research process, might better serve your needs.
Good day everyone, my name is Joshua Diparami and I am also the reporter of the grounded theory. So the key characteristic of grounded theory is that grounded theory can incorporate a systematic approach, a flexible emerging design in the use of active codes to capture the experience of the participants. So grounded theory research is a systematic methodology used in qualitative studies to develop theories grounded in the data collected from the participants. So it allows researchers to explore social processes and interaction among people. So there are elements of systematic, emerging, and constructivist approaches. So characteristics that grounded theory researchers use in their designs are process approach, theoretical sampling, constant comparative data analysis, a core category, theory generation, and memos. So in grounded theory research, we take a process approach. This means we focus on understanding a sequence of action and interaction instead to a specific topic. Unlike studying a single concept, we explore how people interact and unfolds over time. So for instance, imagine studying on a student-teacher interaction in an online platform or classroom. The process could be adapting to online learning environments. So researchers would analyze how students and teachers adjust their communication and teaching styles in the new settings. So that is a process approach. So characteristic number 2 is the theoretical sampling. So the data collected by the grounded theorists to establish these processes include many forms of qualitative information. Researchers can collect observation, conversation, and interviews, public records and respondents, like diaries and journals, and the researcher's own personal reflection. So theoretical sampling in grounded theory means that the researcher chooses forms of data collection that will yield text and image useful in generating theory. So, so in grounded theory, the use of theoretical sampling, which means selecting participants based on the emerging theory during the research, instead of predetermined criteria, researchers use participants who can provide data to refine or expand the developing theory. So let's consider the online learning example again, as I example in the process approach rather. So initially, researchers might interview teachers comfortable with technology. As the theory develops, they might then choose to interview teachers' struggles with online tools to understand the challenges faced by this group. So that's what it's mean. And the third characteristic is the emerging design. So emerging design in grounded theory research is the process in which the researchers collect data, analyzes it immediately rather than waiting until all the data are collected, and then bases the decision about what data to collect next on this analysis. So for me, in grounded theory, emerging design so this means data collection in the analysis happen effectively, not in separate stages. Researchers analyze data as they collect it, not waiting until everything is gathered. This analysis guides them on additional data to collect next. So as you can see here as the chart, zigzag data collection in the analysis to achieve saturation of categories. So think of it like a zigzag process. So we start with the initial data collection like interviews, then we analyze it for initial categories and identify the gaps in our understanding. So this might lead us to interview new people or delve deeper with existing participants to refine the developing theory. So this continues until we reach saturation, where new data doesn't provide significant new insight. So this is the emerging design. So the fourth characteristic is the constant comparative data analysis. So constant comparison is an inductive from the specific to broad data analysis procedure in grounded theory research of generating and connecting categories by comparing incidents in the data to another incidents. So incidents to categories and categories to other categories, the overall intent is to ground the categories in the data. So constant comparative analysis in grounded theory this is This is the ongoing process of comparing new data to existing data throughout the research. So it helps researchers identify similarities, differences, and emerging patterns in the data. So for instance, so let's revisit the example, the online learning study. So as the researchers interview the teachers, they constantly compare their experiences. So they might find some teachers readily embrace online tools while others struggle. So this ongoing comparison help refine the categories of adapting to online learning environments and potentially lead to a new categories like technological comfort levels among teachers. So that is the constant comparative data analysis. The fifth characteristic is a core category. So after identifying several categories, say 8 to 10 depending on the size of the database, the researchers select a core category as the basis for the writing theory. So grounded theory research often leads to be a core category. So the central concept that emerges from the data and integrates all the other categories, it explains the core process or phenomenon under investigation. Continuing the online learning studies, the core category might be the navigating the challenges and opportunities of online instruction. This category would encompass various subcategories like adapting communication styles, using technology effectively, and managing students' engagement in a virtual setting. So that is what core category is. Theory generation. So theory and grounded theory research is an abstract explanation or understanding of a process about substantive. So to shorten it all up, grounded so the theory generation is a research aims to develop a middle range theory. So this theory sits between grand theories applicable to vast situation in minor working hypothesis. So grand theory means imagined theories like human motivation and broad and applicable to many peoples in situation. So a middle range theory, however, offers an abstract explanation for substantive topic based on the data from the multiple individuals or sources. This provides a more focused understanding compared to grand theories, but offers broader applicability than minor hypotheses. So theoretical proposition. Theoretical proposition is in grounded theory research are statements indicating the relationship among categories, such as in a systematic approach to actual coding that includes casual conditions, the core and category or phenomenon, the context intervening condition, and the strategic consequences. So theoretical proposition, Brown also formulated propositions based on the model. So for example, one proposition states that peer interaction influence community building among Black Hispanic college freshmen. Another proposition suggests that the more time students spend interacting with peers, the stronger their sense of community. This proposition provides a clear statement about the relationship between the identified categories. So this is what Brown identified proposition substantiation and relate to her categories in the model. So like I said, peer-to-peer influence, a community building among Black and Hispanic. I just summarized it. So that's all of the theory generation. So the sixth characteristic is memos. So memo writing is a tool in a grounded theory research that provides researchers with an ongoing dialogue with themselves about the emerging theory. Also, memos are notes that researchers write throughout the research process to elaborate on ideas about the data in coded categories. So meaning, in grounded theory, researchers also use memos now throughout the research process. These are ongoing written reflection that documents insight, questions, and emerging connection between categories. So that's it. According to Orana, she discussed how memoing helped her. So free associate and write whatever thoughts she became aware of. So number 2 is unblock at times when she felt she could not quite describe in words what are occurring in the data. So number 3 is begin conceptualizing by the tracking ideas from raw data to coding and into categories. So that is how memoing helped her. And this is also the things so we could memo. So like I've said, grounded theory research is a powerful approach for researchers seeking to develop theories based on the real-world experience. However, unlike traditional quantitative methods of predetermined hypothesis, grounded theory allows the theory to emerge from the data itself. So often through interviews and other qualitative data collection methods, while this flexibility allows researchers to build theories grounded in the life experience, it also raises unique ethical consideration that need careful attention. So this is my topic, the potential ethical issues in grounded theory research. So one way to view grounded theory is that in approach or set of approaches to analyze of data. Consequently, the writing on grounded theory are largely silent on ethical issues in the conduct of research. So this does not mean that the grounded theory is unethical or devoid of ethics. And when grounded theory emerged during the 1960s, the discussion about ethics in educational research was not widely shared. Still, ethical issues face grounded theories when they declare the purpose of study, knowing that it will emerge through the grounding participant views. So, like I said, that grounded theory research often relies heavily on interviews. So, researchers must ensure participants fully understand the research purpose, so how their information will be used, and their rights to withdraw it at any stage. Maintaining participants' anonymity and confidentiality throughout the research process is crucial. Technique like anonymizing transcript and using pseudonyms can be helpful to avoid these issues. So another one is the power dynamics. So interviews inherently involves a power imbalance between researchers and participants. So researchers can address this by creating a comfortable and respectful environment. When participants feel empowered to share their experiences, this might involve actively listening, using open-ended questions, and ensuring participant understanding they are equal partners in research process. So as you can see here at the chart, it means the ethical dilemma. So walking off with the data. So this provide text highlights a potential ethical dilemma. So researchers conducting a study on department chair support interview of faculty members. So this is an example of ethical dilemma, ha. So researchers conducting a study on department chair support interview faculty members. And one participant, after a casual conversation, unexpectedly requested the original audio recording of their interview, even though they were previously provided with a transcript. So the researchers cough off. So, diba, like when they interview, like suddenly ask you a confidential interview, so your reaction will be like, shock. So you'll be caught off guard. So hand it over the transcript instead. So you have no choice. So you will hand over the transcript instead. So the participant then promptly leave with the recording. This situation raised question in how informed consent is obtained, data ownership, and how researchers should handle unexpected requests or situations that deviate from the planned protocol. So that's it. That's the ethical dilemma of the grounded theory. So what are the steps in conducting grounded theory research? With the different types of grounded theory procedures, systematic emerging, and the constructivist, researchers might engage in alternative procedures to conduct a grounded theory study. The approach taken here will be the systematic form of inquiry because it consists of easily identifiable steps and frequently used for grounded theory research, and provides a procedure that researchers will find useful. So the step one of these is decide if a grounded theory design best address the research problem. So the step one is decide if a grounded theory design best address the research problem. So a grounded theory design is appropriate when you want to develop or modify a theory, explain a process, and develop a general abstraction of the interaction and action of people. As such, it offers a macro picture of the educational situation rather than a detailed micro-analysis. Because of the generation of abstract process, it seems suitable for sensitive topics such as the coping process of women who have been sexually abused or any research problem in a situation in which individual needs their privacy protected. So grounded theory also seems applicable for those individuals who are trained in quantitative research but who want to explore a qualitative procedure that is rigorous and systematic. For example, in an educational field in which qualitative research has been made slow inroads, such as educational psychology, inquirers, and turning to grounded theory as useful procedure. So, grounded theory is this type of grounded theory is a valuable tool when research aims to develop or modify a theory. So this applies to situation where existing theories are limited or a new perspective is needed. So this step is like uncovering the steps, stages, or sequence of the phenomenon, such as how students choose colleges or how faculty members adapt to online learning. So it also developed a general abstract of human interaction. So this step of grounded theory aims to move beyond specific context and develop models with broader applicability. However, if you want to use this step, so this might not be the best choice when you already have a well-defined theory and want to test its prediction. Is that a good choice when you use this step? If you are primarily interested in detailed description or specific context. So this is the step 1. The step 2 is identify a process to study. So this process may change the emerge during your project, but you need to have an idea of the process at this step. This process should naturally follow from the research problem and question you seek to answer. It needs to develop people who are acting or interacting with the identifiable steps or sequence in their interaction. It is helpful to write down this process early in your study, such as what is the process of coping for first-year teacher, or what is the process by which faculty develop in productive researchers. So this step 2 of grounded theory focuses theory. So this step 2 of the grounded theory focuses on understanding the processes. So even though the final theory may evolve, researchers need a starting point, a tentative idea of the process they'll be investigating. So this process should be logically connected to your research question. So for example, if studying faculty development, so your initial process might be how faculty member develop into productive research. So that is the step 2, identify a process to study. So step 3, seek approval and access. So you also need an access to individuals who can provide insight into the process that you plan to study. Like other studies, these steps involve seeking approval to collect data, appraising individuals of the purpose of your study, and guaranteeing protection of the site and participant as you conduct the inquiry. So if you plan to use the zigzag approach like I mentioned in the past slides, to data collection and analysis, it is difficult to plan and receive prior approval for collecting some data. So this approach relies on collecting data, analyzing it, and using the information to conduct a grounded theory study. So it is helpful to appraise reviewers of this process and the tentative nature of the data collection procedures at the beginning of the study. So this step 3 is, as with all the research, so it is really important to secure approval from your institution review board is crucial. So this involves outlining your research methods, data collection procedures, and how you'll ensure the participants' protection. So this step utilize a zigzag approach like I've mentioned. So where data collection and analysis happens simultaneously. So while you might have a general plan, the specific data you collect might shift based on the initial findings during the review process. So be prepared to explain how you'll address ethical consideration in this iterative approach. So by gaining approval and access in the participants who can provide insight into your solution process, and also essential, this might involve contacting relevant institutions or organizations, explaining your research, and obtaining informed consent.
Step 4 is conduct theoretical sampling. So the key concept in grounded theory data collection is to gather information that can assist in your development of theory, especially individuals who have experienced the process you're studying. So grounded theories use many forms of data, but many Researchers rely on interview to best capture the experiences of the individual in their own words. A characteristic of grounded theory research, however, is that the inquirer collects data more than once and keep returning to data sources for more information throughout a study until the categories are saturated. The theory is fully developed. There is no precise timeline for this process, and researchers need to make the decision as to when they have fully developed their categories and their theory.
So step 5 is decode data. So the process of coding data occurs during the data collection so that you can determine the data to collect next. So it typically begins with the identification of open coding categories and using the construct comparative approach for saturation by comparing data with the incident and incident with the category. A reasonable number of 10 categories may suffice. Although this number depends on the extent of your database and the complexity of the process you are exploring, according to McLaughlin, for example, conducted a grounded theory study of the complex question of leadership in rural communities. So code the data for me is coding is an ongoing process in grounded theory research. As you collect data like interviews, observation, or documents, you begin to identify patterns and themes. So here is the breakdown of the patterns of the coding process. So there is a lot of coding process. So it has open coding, constant comparative analysis, actual coding, and developing a coding paradigm. So these are a lot of choices that you can pick in the code of the data. Step 6 is the use selective coding and develop the theory. So the final process of coding is selective coding, and it involves actually developing your theory. So this procedure includes interrelating the categories in coding paradigm. So it may involve refining the actual coding paradigm and presenting it as a model of or theory of the process. So it may include writing propositions and to provide testable ideas for further research. So you can present your theory as a series of proposition or sub-propositions. So this stage may also involve writing a story or a narrative that describes the interrelationships among the categories. So the use of selective codings is a final stage of analysis. So here you focus on refining and integrating your categories to build a coherent theory that explain the process of under the study. So step 7 is validate your theory. So it is important to determine if your theoretical explanation makes sense to the participants and is an accurate rendering of the events. To shorten it up, validate your theory is a grounded theory emphasizing on validating the theory with the participants throughout the research process. So this helps ensure that theory accurately reflects their experience. Here are some validation strategies if you don't know. So here is the validation, this number 1 is the member checking. So sharing your emerging findings and interpretation with the participants and getting their feedback on accuracy and completeness. So literature review is also to validate your theory. So comparing your theory with existing literature on the process to check for alignment and identify potential contribution. So it really helps to have a validate your theory. So lastly, step 8, write a grounded theory research. So the structure of your grounded theory report will vary from a flexible structure in the emerging and constructivist design to a more quantitatively oriented structure in a systematic design. Compared with other qualitative designs such as ethnography and narrative research, the structures of grounded theory studies are scientific and includes a problem, methods, discussion, and results. In addition, the point of view of the writers in the systematic approach is sometimes third person in object and tone. All grounded theory projects, however, end with a theory generated by the researchers reporting his or her abstract on the process under examination. So this step is a structure of your report will depend on the specific grounded theory design you use. So if you use the systematic, emerging, or constructivist, however, compared to some qualitative research methods, grounded theory reports typically have more formal structure. Like for example, this structure is the introduction. So this section introduced the research problem in the outline of your research objection. So the second is methodology. Here, you detail your research design and data collection procedures, and analytical methods include how you address ethical consideration. So number three is the result of that methodology. So this section present your findings, including your final theory and supporting evidence from the data. So you might present your coding paradigm of use figures and visual to illustrate the relationship between the categories. So number eight is discussion in the section. So that's it. So as we move to the next chapter, how do you evaluate grounded theory research? So, several prominent researchers have established frameworks for evaluating grounded theory studies. So, this framework outlined by scholars like Charmas, Strauss, and Corbin and Strauss encompasses various aspects like the research process and the resulting theory and its potential impact. So Charmas emphasized four key qualities like credibility, originality, and resonance and usefulness. So credibility refers to the whether the research findings are believable and trustworthy. So originality also focuses on the freshness of the insight of the research offers. So resonance explores how well the research finding connects with the reader experience, making them feel sense of recognition. So finally, the usefulness. So consider the overall value and applicability of the research, particularly its potential to inform action or future research. So as of the expert have said. So Corbin and Stars propose another framework that focuses on the theory potential to benefit individuals. So the theory, the strength of its core concept and its innovative contribution to knowledge, they highlight the importance of considering how the research can benefit individuals. So this include aspects like fit, relevance to the target audience, sensitivity, like awareness of the potential biases, and applicability, like the ability to apply it in the real-life situation. Additionally, they emphasize the significance of well-developed concepts or categories within the theory. So strong concepts are clear, well-defined, and effectively captures the essence of the data. So the theory logical flow and its coherence within its specific context are also crucial. Finally, Corbin Stars value the researcher's innovative contribution, so they look for evidence of how the research builds upon existing knowledge while offering fresh perspective or insight. So that is the evaluate the grounded research. So the next slide. So in the high quality grounded theory studies, some combination of these factors exists, and the author is make explicit the process or action at the heart of the study. So by this said explicit process or action, the study clearly identifies the central process of the action that is being investigated. This provides a clear focus for the research and ensure that theory remains grounded in a specific phenomenon. So number 2 is develop or generate a theory at the end of the study that is grounded in the view of the participants. So it means that a core aspect of the grounded theory research is the development of a theory that is firmly rooted in a perspective of the participants involved. So the theory should emerge from the data and accurately reflect the experiences and the insight of those studies. So number 3 is the make certain that a link exists between the data and generation of categories in the ultimate theory. So this means that a strong research design ensures a clear connection between the collected data. So the development of categories in the final theory, the researcher should demonstrate how the theory is built upon the raw data and how the categories serve as a building block for overall explanation. So the fourth one is to provide evidence of using memoing and sampling that enables the generation of the theory. So this means that effective grounded theory research involves the use of memoing, which refers to the written reflection by the researchers throughout the research process. So these memos help document insight, emerging themes, and connection between the data points. Additionally, the researcher should demonstrate the use of purposeful sampling techniques. So this means that strategically selecting participants or data resources to further refine and develop the emerging theory. So the fifth point is to present a visual model of the theory. So a well-developed grounded theory study often presents the theory visually. So this can be done through the diagram or models that illustrate the relationship between key concepts within the theory. So a visual representation can enhance understanding and make the theory more accessible. So lastly, the provides evidence of the use of the types of grounded theory design, such as the systematic, emerging, and constructive approach. So this grounded theory research adheres to one of the established design approaches. So these approaches, such as systematic, emerging, or constructivist approaches, provide different levels of structures and flexibility in the research process. So the research should clearly identify the specific grounded theory design they employed and explain how it guided the research journey. So that is the high quality grounded theory study or some computation. Yeah, so that is the high quality grounded theory. So to sum it all up in this conclusion, so evaluating grounded theory research requires a critical look at the research process, the resulting theory and its potential contribution to knowledge by considering the criteria outlined above. So researchers and readers can assess the quality and impact of grounded theory studies. So this allows for more informed understanding of how grounded theory research contribute to a development of new knowledge and insight. So thank you for listening, and this is all my report, and I hope that you have learned something from me while reporting, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any question. Thank you for listening.